The Trump administration is trying to cut Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's revenue streams, U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says. The comments come one day after Mr. Maduro cut diplomatic ties with the U.S. He was angry after they recognized an opposition figure, Juan Guaido, as interim president on Wednesday. Mr. Bolton told reporters outside the White House the issue was complicated, but they were working on a plan to funnel funds to Mr. Guaido instead. Figures from the Trump administration are continuing to try and compound pressure on Mr. Maduro as the international community remains divided in its support of him. Russia has condemned foreign powers for backing Mr. Guaido, saying the move violated international law and was a direct path to bloodshed. Mike Pompeo, the U.S. Secretary of State, has now requested a UN Security Council meeting be held on the issue on Saturday. At a meeting of the Organization of American States on Thursday, he described Mr. Maduro's government as morally bankrupt and undemocratic to the core. Large protests were organized against, and some in support of, Mr. Maduro on Wednesday. At one demonstration in Caracas, Mr. Guaido, Venezuela's National Assembly leader, declared himself as the country's interim leader. He said articles within the country's constitution allow him to assume interim power because he believed Mr. Maduro's election, and therefore presidency, was invalid. He has vowed to lead a transitional government and hold free elections. Within minutes of his declaration, Mr. Trump recognized Mr. Guaido as the country's legitimate head of state. A number of South American nations, as well as Canada and the UK, have now followed suit. The government of Mr. Maduro, who has maintained the military's support, described Mr. Guaido's actions as an attempted coup. Mr. Maduro has labeled the US comments a big provocation and broken off diplomatic relations. On Thursday, he ordered the closure of Venezuela's embassy and consulates in the US. The US state